In 2029, 10 people will board a spacecraft and leave Earth forever. Musk calls them the Suicide Squad. This is no joke. This is SpaceX's official Mars colonization plan. It is an 8-month one-way journey, with no fuel for a return trip upon arrival and no supply stations. Even the oxygen they breathe must be produced on-site. But what is even more daunting is that these 10 people are just the beginning. Musk's ultimate goal is to send 1 million people to Mars, to build a city on the red planet. You might ask, why must it be Mars? Isn't the moon closer? That is exactly the point. The moon is only 380,000 kilometers from Earth, a round trip that takes only a few days. But Mars, at its closest, it is still 55 million kilometers away. A one-way trip takes 8 months. Musk puts it bluntly. Precisely because it is so far, it must be Mars. The moon is too close, so you can always count on rescue from Earth if something goes wrong. But not on Mars. Martians must learn to survive on their own, eating Martian food and burning Martian fuel. In other words, this is not immigration. This is survival in exile. So, what are the conditions on Mars that would allow humans to survive? To be honest, conditions on Mars are slightly better than you might think, but only slightly. First, there is time. A day on Mars is called a sol, lasting 24.6 hours, only 36 minutes longer than on Earth. Your biological clock won't need a major adjustment. Second is the axial tilt. Mars has an axial tilt of 25.19 degrees, compared to Earth's 23.5 degrees. They are almost identical. What does this mean? Mars also has 4 seasons and a day-night cycle. More importantly, Mars sits right within the Sun's habitable zone. Near the equator, daytime temperatures can reach around 20 degrees Celsius. Sounds okay, right? But what really excited scientists was a major discovery in 2024. NASA's InSight lander, using seismic wave data, confirmed that the Martian crust hides vast amounts of liquid water. This water is stored in rock fractures 10 to 20 kilometers underground. Just how much water is there? If it were all pumped out and spread across the Martian surface, it would cover the entire planet to a depth of 1.6 kilometers. This is currently the most authoritative conclusion regarding liquid water on Mars. Where there is water, there is hope. But do you think it's drinkable just because it's there? That's too naive. This water is buried over 10 kilometers deep. To extract it, we would need to develop specialized drilling and heating technologies. Furthermore, the Martian atmosphere is 99.87% carbon dioxide, with a pathetic 0.13% oxygen content, less than 1,000th of Earth's. If a human arrived there, the first breath would be your last. Fortunately, in 2021, the Perseverance rover carried a 17-kilogram device. This gadget made history in space exploration. For the first time, humans successfully produced oxygen on a planet other than Earth. Its principle is actually quite simple. It takes carbon dioxide from the Martian atmosphere, heats it to 800 degrees, and electrolytically separates the oxygen. It can produce up to 12 grams per hour, with a purity of over 98%. What does 12 grams mean? It's enough for one person to breathe for about 10 minutes. The number sounds meager, but the significance is immense. It proves one thing. Martian resources can be utilized in situ. We don't have to bring everything from Earth. So, how do we solve the housing problem? Nighttime temperatures on Mars can drop to -80 degrees Celsius, colder than Antarctica. During the day, ultraviolet radiation can penetrate your skin directly, and long-term exposure significantly increases the risk of cancer. NASA's solution sounds a bit far-fetched. Build houses out of ice. First, set up an inflatable frame, then have robots fill it with Martian water ice. Water ice not only provides insulation, but it also blocks radiation. The translucent material even allows light to pass through. Even more hardcore is the building material. Scientists have discovered that mixing minerals from Martian soil with urea processed from human urine can create high-strength concrete. This approach effectively turns waste into building materials, taking recycling to the extreme. But don't think that once you've secured water, oxygen, and housing, everything is smooth sailing. There is something on Mars that can wipe out all your efforts in an instant. Dust storms. Martian dust storms. are not just simple gusts of wind or blowing sand. They involve frozen carbon dioxide, sublimating directly into gas, creating incredibly powerful winds that sweep across the entire planet. Not just a city, not just a continent, but the entire planet. These superstorms occur roughly every 3 years, lasting for several months at a time, churning the entire Martian atmosphere into a thick, murky soup. Sunlight simply cannot reach the surface. In 2018, this is how NASA's Opportunity rover met its end. The rover was originally designed to work for only 90 days, but it managed to survive on Mars for 15 years. However, when that year's massive dust storm arrived, its solar panels were covered in thick dust. Sunlight exposure plummeted by 96%, and the batteries could no longer charge. NASA tried everything to put it into sleep mode, but eventually contact was lost. The final message Opportunity sent to humanity was, "My battery is low and it's getting dark," and then it remained forever in that red wasteland. Our Zhurong rover met a similar fate. In May 2022, a Martian dust storm caused its solar panels to be covered in dust, forcing it into sleep mode, from which it has yet to wake up. Therefore, in Musk's plan, there is a critical step. Before humans land, robots must be sent ahead to pave the way. SpaceX's plan is to launch 5 Starships in 2026, carrying robots and equipment to land on Mars. These robots will first build 2 life-sustaining plants, a water treatment plant to extract, melt, and purify underground water ice, and a fuel plant that uses hydrogen from electrolysis and carbon dioxide from the Martian atmosphere to synthesize methane, providing fuel for the return trip. Only after this infrastructure is built will humans set foot on Martian soil. Arcadia Planitia, in the northern hemisphere of Mars, northeast of Olympus Mons, is the site currently selected by SpaceX for the first Martian city. This location is near the equator, allowing for maximum sunlight exposure. More importantly, detection data shows that vast amounts of water ice are hidden underground here. Water is the hard currency on Mars. Without water, everything else is just talk. Musk's plan is to build 1,000 Starships within 10 years, launching 1 every 3 days on average. Each ship can carry 100 people, utilizing the Earth-Mars launch window that opens every 25 months to transport them in bulk. By 2050, the goal is to have a self-sustaining city on Mars that can house 1 million people. Why must it be 1 million? Because that is the number Musk has calculated. For a civilization to sustain and reproduce itself, independent of Earth, the absolute minimum threshold is 1 million. He puts it very bluntly. This Martian city is not a vacation resort for humanity, but a backup hard drive for human civilization, Even if Earth were to face a catastrophe one day, the spark of life could still endure on the red planet. This may sound like science fiction, but every step is being advanced. Robotics, fuel synthesis technology, in situ resource utilization, and Starship recovery are all being developed in parallel. Tesla's Optimus robot is specifically designed for Martian infrastructure construction. Of course, many people are skeptical, asking if it is truly possible by 2050. No one knows the answer, but one thing is certain. From 1960 to the present, humanity has launched over 50 probes to Mars. Every failure has served to accumulate data for the next success. Every machine sleeping on the Martian surface is telling us in its own way just how dangerous that red wasteland is, and yet how worthwhile it is. And this, perhaps, is the most fascinating trait of the human species. We know that an abyss lies ahead, yet we cannot help but want to jump in and see what is there. That red wasteland, 55 million kilometers away, is waiting for its first residents. Perhaps it will be you, or perhaps it will be your children. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through science, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. See you in the next exploration with Quantara Atlas.